officials tonight. Randy McCall, Matt Rafferty, and Chad Shepard assigned to dispense justice inside the Huntsman Center as we're off with Tuesday night hoops. Utah will hit the road for the first time this year after this one. Cash finds Berman rolling to the cup, and Queens one and done on their first possession. It's our two teams not afraid to push the pace.
No, Queens, oh, excuse me, Chris.
I was just going to say, Utah's rolling out the same starting five as their first two games. Why wouldn't you?
They have. They've played awfully well, both ends of the court with this starting five, playing without their rim protector, Lawson Lovering. But don't expect Queens to walk the ball up and down the court. They play at a very high pace and shoot about 9 threes, or make about 9 threes a game.
Madsen misfires on his first attempt. Queens is also off to a 2-0 start, and they're rolling out the same starting five that netted them a double-figure victory over Western Carolina at home last time out on Friday night. They've missed their first 2 attempts. Ausar takes it to the bucket, and there's the nation leader in blocked shots, Malcolm Wilson, with his first in the opening minute.
How about that? 8 in their first game, 6 in their second game. You talk about Malcolm in the middle being a rim protector. He has been just that in 2 games.
Ashby nearly took that extra step as we look for our first point tonight. Yoav Berman, the true freshman from Israel, spinning on Madsen, falling away, and it's off the heel. 3
pretty good defensive possessions by the Utes, Chris. The Queens team had to take 3 questionable shots because that's as good a shot as they could get there. Really good defense by Gabe Madsen on Berman there.
Jake Wallin puts it in off the window and give him one on the house.
Jake Wallin has been inserted into the starting lineup because of Lawson Lovering's injury, and boy, has he made the best of his time with setting a career high every time he steps on the floor. Last week, 9 points, which is a career high, 4 blocks, a career high, and how about this? 6 steals by Wallin last game. He may play here another 10 years, never had 6 steals in a game. And here's the best part of his stat line. He has 1 turnover in 2 games.
Wallin has stepped in to that big role, as you mentioned. Lawson Lovering still sidelined, as is the Wake Forest transfer Zach Keller. Utah very thin on the inside, but Wallin has shown some consistency. Cash drives the lane, tried to hand it off to Wilson. Ashby fires a 3. Wilson on the offensive glass, and it wasn't pretty, but the putback flush drops through.
Well, you talk about long, 7 foot. He's had back-to-back 12 rebound games as well, an offensive rebound there.
Guy that was at Georgetown for 3 years, left when Ed Cooley made his move to the Hoyas. This is his 2nd year at Queens. Ausar twirling around, doesn't find anything. Shot clock into single digits for the Utes. Miro Little streaking to the cup, and a left-hand layup off the window and in.
You know, a great decision by Ausar there. He could have let his ego get in the way and forced up a shot. He kicked it back out. Little doing a good job of managing the clock. Got it all the way to the rim for an easy 2.
So we've talked so much about Utah's 3-point shooting, but their first 2 buckets tonight have come in the paint. Leo Colomario drives the lane, powers it up off the side of the glass. Terrific defense from Wallin.
All 5 of Queens' shots have come within about 5 feet of the basket, but Utah's defense is kind of a never say die, sticking to the end, and Little has become a pretty effective 3-point shooter. Not noted for that coming in here, but now feeling very, very comfortable from the 3-point line.
Yeah, the Baylor transfer had 3 triples last time against Central Arkansas. Cash down to the floor. Was trying to signal for a timeout, but instead a jump ball, and possession points the way of Utah.
Look at this long arm of the law here. Malcolm Wilson kind of shoving Sharavjamts under the basket and just going up there, and man, that's an easy shot when you're 7 foot with arms like well ropes. Nice drive by Little there, going with his offhand there. What I like most about that, he didn't panic. He kind of kept his wits about you. Crossover dribble right to left and scored it with his left hand.
Queens going to their bench early. Caleb Matthews, a senior from North Carolina. Jackson Pollard, homecoming for him, was at Salt Lake City College for a couple of years, and he's from Cedar Hills, about half an hour south of Salt Lake City.
won a state championship at Lone Peak High School right here on this court.
That's about 50 or 60 friends and family in attendance. Late in the clock, Ashby from way outside. He's missed his first 2 attempts. Sharavjamts clears. Nice no-look feed. Ausar hammers it through.
Maybe the most versatile player on the floor is Mike Sharavjamts from Mongolia. When he gets a rebound like that, he is the backup point guard when the starting point guard Little goes out. When he gets a rebound, he just brings it, and that puts all kinds of pressure on the transition defense.
Queen's bucket from Caleb Matthews, one of the first off the bench. Gabe Madsen misses, but there's Ausar to throw it back.
Well, no one even around Ausar for him to get to the offensive glass.
So a couple of high-flying finishes in the opening minutes from Ezra Ausar, who spent the last 2 years in North Carolina at East Carolina. And Utah has ballooned this lead to 7. Matthews will go up, and Wallin commits the foul. So free throws on the other side for Queens. Good start for the Utes at home. 5 of their first 8 from the field. And what vision from Mongolian Mike.
Highlands Park Ranch, who transferred from Wake Forest, and then an outstanding freshman, Ibi Traore from Mali, a late signee for him. Those guys all went down to injuries, Chris, in a week, and boy, did their coach, Craig Smith, have his dauber down right before that first game. But that could end up being a blessing in disguise, because guys like Keanu Dawes and Jake Wallin getting extended minutes and making the most of those.
Queens showing some full court pressure out of the Caleb Matthews free throw make.
Speaking of Keanu Dawes, he's in the game now. The 6'9" Rice transfer has been very impressive in his first 2 games here.
Sharavjamts puts it in and has a chance at 4. Mongolian Mike striking from the outside, already his 6th made triple this year, and a free throw coming.
Well, he's one of the guys in that tying school record, 19 made threes last game. They had 5 guys have at least 2 made threes. Sharavjamts coming off a career high 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 blocks and 3 steals in their last game. Again, maybe the most versatile player on the court.
Well-traveled player, too, was at Dayton his freshman season, San Francisco last year, and a welcomed addition to this Utah squad. He started the first 3 games. Pollard, and couldn't put it in, but headed, nope, foul on the floor. Not in the act of shooting.
Ausar just a little bit late on that rotation. He was the low man on the weak side, and he got there, but just about a step too late. He was a little close to his man away from the ball. He's had an interesting first couple games. He's averaging 11.5 points. He had only shot 8 times coming into this game, but he'd been to the free throw line 20 times.
John Anderson is checked in for Queens. He led them in scoring in that Friday win at home against Western Carolina. Royals work late in the clock. Anderson from way outside, and it pops out.
Nice block out then by Gabe Madsen on the bigger Jackson Pollard. Pollard played here in high school, as you mentioned. His a big name in Utah basketball, the Pollard name. His grandpa was Poison Pollard, the big center who played here back in the late 50s that the older Ute fans will remember. Younger Ute fans will know the name. Pearl Poison Pollard, to be exact.
And his father played a couple seasons at BYU and a couple years at USC. He transferred before it was cool to transfer. That is a blocking foul on the aforementioned Utah native, Jackson Pollard. Trio of substitutions getting set to check in for the Utes as Queens makes a couple as well. Hunter Erickson will get his first action tonight. Mason Madsen is in the game.
Hunter Erickson, Cole Holder on the team this year with the most games ever played in a season. Utah played 37 games last year, 22 and 15. He played in every one of them, and then Gabe Madsen started every one of them. write his name in the record book.
Mason couldn't finish. Wallin on the offensive glass. Shot clock didn't reset. Dawes goes down the lane and flips it home.
Dawes just kind of horsed that one in, playing through the hit. Of course, he is no shrinking violet at 6'9", 215, and he's had a couple really good games at the start of his career here at Utah.
Transferred in from Rice, first team all-conference, the freshman American Athletic Conference squad. And a nice swat from Jake Wallin to prevent the layup attempt underneath.
Well, this started with a good decision by Wallin here. He'd used his dribble. Dawes created a passing lane for him, and then a nice finish by Dawes there. One dribble drive to the basket, kept his head up, and really, really a nice finish.
Anderson lobs. Wilson wasn't there. Utah's doing a terrific job defending on the interior early. Double-figure lead 7 minutes in.
Jake Wallin with that block a minute ago, coming off a game where he had 4 blocks, which was a career high.
Wallin missed the layup. Last touched by Queens.
Utah basketball.
Craig Smith doing a great job of developing his bench, getting guys in these early games. Again, not having his core of big men may end up being a blessing down the road with some of these guys getting extended minutes that maybe would not have. Some of those big guys setting out may have trouble getting on the floor. Some of these guys are playing so good.
Madsen steps back but whistled for traveling. So no bucket for Mason Madsen. Would have been his first attempt.
Mason Madsen 10 of 21 from the three-point line so far. He and his brother 22 of 44 after 2 games.
Is that good? Pretty good.
That's pretty good. I know guys like you and I could be in the gym by themselves and not make percentage like that from the three-point line.
Oh, Queens off the Madsen miss, and there's a foul away from the ball on Utah. And Queens fortunate to get it back here after they fumbled what appeared to be a pretty uncontested rebound.
Randy McCall, very definitive, the official, one of the best officials in the entire NCAA. You see talking to Coach Smith there. I don't know. Are they going to call that on Wallin? His hand was on his back. I didn't see much of a push, but again, Randy McCall all over that, and he's as good as it gets when it comes to college officiating.
Queens just 2 of 11 on this end as they turn it over again. Madsen got the steal. Wallin races ahead and missed the layup.
I tell you one thing about Mason Madsen, he will lead the team in floor burns this year. It didn't take him long to get on the floor like you just saw and pick up a loose ball.
Wilson tried to keep alive the Nas man miss, but right to the Utes. Queens is yet to hit from the outside as Dawes loses the handle underneath.
A little too unselfish by Sharavjamts in here. I thought he could have shot that with his left hand and got a better shot than what he tried to dump off to Dawes.
Well, Hunter Erickson is down after the Ajon Anderson miss, and the officials will blow this dead. That'll take us to another opening half stoppage here on a Tuesday night in Salt Lake City. Utah up double figures early at home. Their three-point shooting, their offense, but early in this game, their defense has shined the brightest.
Well, holding Queens to 15% from the field, 0 for 4 from the three-point line. You saw Jake Wallin with that block there, his 6th block of the year. And then if there's a loose ball around Mason Madsen, he's going to be on it like freckles on a redhead. I guarantee you he gets down on the floor like no one else on his team, and that really energizes this Ute team. They are holding their opponents coming into this game to 38% from the field.
Wallin gives it back to Madsen and follows up the miss with a putback.
Jake Wallin has just been all over that offensive glass. Such an intelligent basketball intelligence to follow that layup there.
Utah by a baker's dozen. Queens has not scored in more than 4 minutes. This is Leo Colomario with another miss.
Keanu Dawes with another rebound, coming off a game where he set his career high in rebounds with 11 rebounds in their last game. It had 8 3 different times at Rice and 11 in that last game. Didn't shoot it very well, only 1 of 6. We also had 5 assists and 2 blocks. Again, he and Wallin really taking advantage of Utah's top 2 big guys out of the lineup and making the most of that time.
Cash drives in and reverses it home. Well, Bryce Cash, the point guard for this Queens squad. They used him at the 4 and the 3 last year, but they thought his playmaking was his best attribute. So they toyed with him at the 1 over the summertime, and he wound up with a career best 9 assists last Friday against Western Carolina.
Did a nice job against only 2 turnovers. So for a power forward playing the point, he's doing pretty good.
Well, Gabe Madsen's on the board, missed his first couple of attempts from the field, and the baseline jump shot stretches this lead back to 13.
Madsen, after 2 games, averaging 26 points, 12 of 23 from the 3-point line. But I tell you what, I've gained so much respect for him in just 2 games and some change. He is a fine defender. He's not just a catch and shoot guy. He's made some really tough drives to the basket. The other night in their last game, he made a great pull up around the right elbow. He is truly a complete player, as Gabe Madsen.
Bad inbound pass, a 5th Queens turnover.
And we haven't mentioned about Gabe Madsen last week on Thursday scoring his 1,000th point, the 42nd member of the illustrious 1,000-point club here at Utah.
Well, the Utes have opened 9 of 18 from the field in this game. 2 hits from the outside. Halfway through the opening 20. With Coach Joe Cravens, Chris Sylvester, our entire crew. Utah wrapping up this season opening 3-game homestand before taking on Mississippi State in South Haven on Sunday. Wallin twirling, powers it up, and it horseshoes off the cylinder. Ausar on the offensive glass, rejected by Wilson. His 2nd block, and now a foul on Utah.
Great offensive rebound by Ausar there, and he couldn't finish the deal. I thought he would have got to the free throw line. He's already shot 20 free throws this year. Yeah, that was a very nice block. Utah, Ausar and Wallin have missed a few right around the rim, not grade school type layups, but college type layups. They were contested a little bit. They hadn't had a whole lot of luck finishing the play there.
Well, the officials over at the scorers table to take a 2nd and 3rd look at that last sequence. There were a lot of elbows swinging around in the low post there.
Well, was that Malcolm Wilson that blocked the shot there, the shot blocking machine by Queens? And then I thought when he turned and started down the floor, he and Wallin kind of got tangled up a little bit. I'm having a little trouble getting that replayed there. Here we go is the block, and that was in fact Malcolm Wilson, who has
well, when you're that tall, what else are you supposed to do with your elbows? Malcolm Wilson, who had 41 blocks last year, now has 16 here in game 3 this season. This is a rare non-tournament style back-to-back for Queens. They will head down to Provo and play at BYU tomorrow night. Their first ever games against Big 12 opponents.
I know you had a nice conversation with the coach Grant Leonard. I visited with him just a little bit before the game. He's a Wisconsin native. His 3rd season as the head coach after 6 years as associate head coach. And as you look down their roster, I talked about Jackson Pollard, his famous grandfather, and his dad and his uncle, but there's several other, or a few other kids on this team with some Utah. There's Jackson Pollard there, the grandson of Pearl Poison Pollard. He said, I wanted to get some of these Utah kids back home. So they're making that 2 games in a night. Pretty tough road trip here, Utah and BYU.
Yeah, said they went way over the ticket limit tonight and tomorrow night with all the friends and family of Jackson Pollard expected to be in attendance. So the home crowd growing a little restless as the officials discuss what will come of this video review.
Well, John Anderson, who led them in scoring, has a little bit of Utah background. He played his first year out of high school down at Utah Tech before he transferred to Ranger Junior College. Led them in scoring in their last game with 24, the sharpshooting guard. I'm not sure what they've decided here.
Let's get an explanation. So a technical foul on Malcolm Wilson will give Utah 2 free throws, and I believe it will be Queens possession after the technical free throws.
Hey,
did I get that right?
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. The initial foul was on Wallin,
right,
which was just a regular common foul, and then Malcolm Wilson with a little extracurricular there. Again, at 7 foot, you swing those elbows, you're right around someone's head. He got a technical foul, so Utah's going to shoot 2 free throws, and then I'm not sure whose ball it is after that.
So the initial foul on Wallin.
The common foul on White, number 10, stays. Blue, 32, with a dead ball contact, technical foul, contact to the head.
Well, he just explained it for us.
He just explained it. I like that.
Takes a little bit off our plate.
Sometimes I like a written explanation. It takes me a little longer.
I'm a visual learner too, Coach. Well, no surprise to see Gabe Madsen taking the free throws. Perfect 6 for 6 this year.
Boy, he's got such a pretty release. That ball comes out of his hands. It's as soft as a baby's bottom. Watch the backspin on it. Watch the way he holds his release. Wow. Textbook there. His dad was he and his twin brother's coach, and I guarantee you, those two learned how to shoot at a very early age because they both have beautiful, beautiful jump shots.
So it's Utah with the technical free throws and possession. A sequence that started with a Utah foul. Largest lead of this opening half of 15. Madsen on a step back and whistled for traveling.
That's the exact same thing his brother did or as it was interpreted, a step back. And I didn't think the first call was right on. I didn't see it real close, but I think Gabe just shuffled. Yeah, he did right there. He stepped back, stepped sideways.
But James Harden has been getting away with that for years.
Forever.
It's a little different at the next level.
Isn't that the truth?
Yoav Berman, the freshman from Israel. And the shot was altered by Sharavjamts and Madsen. Boy, the defense has been terrific for Utah. Queens now 3 of 16 from the field as Cash pokes it out.
Out of bounds, Utah basketball.
The defense was good for the Utes in the 2 games last week. Through the first 8 days of this new college basketball season, Utah the best in the Big 12 and 20th best in the nation in field goal percentage defense, as this time Madsen had his heel out of bounds.
6 Utah turnover. Coming off a game they had 14 turnovers, which is a little bit too much, but how about their assist to turnover ratio as a team this year? 52 assists, 23 turnovers. That's really good for a point guard. That's unheard of for your team.
Berman, Euro step off the glass, off the cylinder, and last touched by Gabe Madsen as Berman was able to throw it off of his lower half. How does Queens find the bottom of the bucket? It has been no easy task these first 11+ minutes.
Well, Utah's a pretty good team defensively, but Queens is coming off a great win at home, 67-54 over Western Carolina, but they only shot 31% in their win at home, 25% from 3.
It was a defensive slugfest, as they'd say. Berman raises up and off the front of the rim.
Well, they have gotten a whole bunch of shots within about 10 feet that hadn't been able to cash in.
Madsen couldn't wrap it home, but a foul underneath against Queens will keep it here.
That was on Berman trying to block out Ausar. Ausar at 6'9", 240 is a pretty tough fella to block out.
Taking the game, numbers 0 and 8, Hunter Erickson and Keanu Dobbs. Replacing Mason Madsen.
So now 5 fouls on Queens.
Craig Smith really developing that bench and rotation, running guys in and out. 10 guys have played already with 8:26 left in the half.
Keanu Dawes back on the floor, as is Hunter Erickson.
Now Mike Sharavjamts, with a little out of the game, will be the point guard. Hunter Erickson has played a little bit of point for the Utes in these first 3 games.
Late in the clock, Sharavjamts puts it up and puts it in.
6'8" with arms like well ropes, just rolls up over the defense there. He is just a fine, fine player.
5 points. He's hit his first 2 attempts from the floor.
His dad was the first Asian globetrotter. How about that?
Yeah, they knew him as the Mongolian Shark.
Yeah.
And Mike has earned his nickname of Mongolian Mike, as Bryce Cash mentioned. He played a lot of 4 last year and still comfortable taking defenders to the bucket.
He looked more like a 4 that time than a point guard, didn't he?
Erickson splashes in the triple.
Hunter Erickson.
Erickson, who's averaging 5.5 points a game, very, very reliable off of that bench. Just such a key part of this team, and he was last year. He played in every game, had double figures 4 of their last 6 games last year.
I don't know if that was intended to be a putback attempt. I think it just hit off the fingertips of Bryce Cash. And
I think Sharavjamts got that as much as Cash did. Cash back-to-back baskets now, coming off a game where it was only 2 of 8. He did have 9 assists that you mentioned versus just 2 turnovers, but no one on his team shot it very well. 31% from, oh Lord.
Ausar misses everything on the elbow jump shot.
And Craig Smith, you could tell with his body language, not very happy about that, but didn't say a word. That was what I used to call as a coach a DNDI, did not draw iron.
First triple for Queens, and those surprised to see it come from Chris Ashby, who's 8th in program history with his now 172 career-made threes.
And he has made a 3 in 53 of 63 career games.
I saw a great quote the other day. Don't get bored with consistency.
No. Well, he had a streak of 19 straight games where he hit 2 or more threes. That's fabulous.
Queens rebounds the shot of Sharavjamts miss. Here comes Nazman, a transfer from McNeese. Cash trying to get back to that sweet spot and couldn't finish over the long arms of Sharavjamts. Utah by 13. And Craig Smith will take that use it or lose it first half timeout just to get the guys a breather. Utes 27-14 over the Queens Royals, making the long trip from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Has had at least 9 newcomers, and I don't know if that's just indicative of the portal era now or it's just early in the year and the teams I'm getting, but almost everyone, with the exception of the women's Ute team, who has a lot of people back, have a bunch of new players.
Another miss from the corner for Madsen, who's misfired on all 3 of his attempts from back there. Good look for Anderson, and Walleen clears away.
Walleen with his 5th rebound already.
Erickson with a step and puts it in off the window.
What a great finish by Hunter Erickson. Started his career at BYU, went to Salt Lake City Community College. He's had 2 this is 2nd year here, very productive years. Just very selfless, a great teammate.
Corner pop on target. Nazman connects on his first field goal. And just the 2nd first half 3 for Queens.
When Hunter Erickson was right in his grill, too.
Sharavjamts baseline finds Madsen for 3.
Great footwork, and you see Madsen took a step back. He found the 3-point line visually first, took a step back to make sure he was shooting behind the 3-point line, and dropped that like 3rd period French.
You know, I've heard all these on TV over the years, but to be sitting next to you when you let these things fly is just an absolute treat, Coach.
Well, it's again kind of part of my background, not so much of my talent level or cleverness. It's if you were to go to Scottsburg, Indiana, where I'm from, 2 stoplights, you'd hear a whole bunch of those things.
7 points now for Mike Sharavjamts. Utah doubling up Queens as Ashby had it altered by Erickson, who never got a piece of it. Well, the defense has continued to smother Queens from these Utah Utes. Up big late in the first half at home. Weekend, we are so grateful, so thankful for all of those that are and have served in our nation's military. Utah basketball out of the timeout.
Nice job handling that press by Utah. It was not what you call a hard press, kind of a soft press. Utah got it right to the middle and right to an attack area.
Sharavjamts found a seam and found another 2.
Sharavjamts now with 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. I'm telling you, he has become as handy as a shirt pocket for these running Utes. Just does a little bit of everything. Even before the season started, Craig Smith said his teammates love to play with him. Anytime we divide teams, he's the first guy picked.
John Anderson with a tough take to the rim. First points for Anderson, who's led Queens in scoring through the first week of the season. Madsen to the corner. Erickson slices down the baseline, and Anderson was there to knock it away.
Nice hands by Anderson, nice timing.
Anderson pulls up. Front rim the 3. Man on the offensive glass. Anderson tries again, and this time he hits. Well, just a matter of time before John Anderson started to find a rhythm at 24 points off the bench against Western Carolina and attempted a team-high 14 field goal attempts in that game. Grant Leonard tells us he likes his scoring prowess off the pine, and you have to like what you've seen from Jake Wallin. In the absence of some of Utah's bigs, he can shoot it from the outside too.
The most impressive thing there is how he spaced up on that dribble drive and created an uncontested passing lane that made it easy for the passer to get it to him. That was great. A feel for how to get to your shot.
Craig Smith calls Jake Wallin the ultimate glue guy. You put him anywhere on the floor and he sticks. Jackson Pollard sticks a corner tray, and the floodgates have started to open from distance for Queens.
Queens coming off a game they only shot 26% from 3, 8 for 31, but heating up here in the last few minutes.
Out of bounds, Utah basketball. In the game for your Utes, number 2, Ezra Ausar.
Watch Jake Wallin as the ball is driven down the left side here by Sharavjamts. Space to where Sharavjamts could see him. And of course, Sharavjamts with those long arms at 6'8" easily made that pass over the defense.
17 on the shot clock for Utah. Ausar spoon feeds Mongolian Mike. Gets free, step back jumper. It's shooting practice for Sharavjamts.
12 points now for Sharavjamts, and as I've said, he just continues to impress you with his overall game. Remember, that last 3-point basket came off his pass, and that 3-point basket came off of his jump shot.
Pollard couldn't get off the sidestep attempt. Instead, it's Anderson fouled on a 3. Well, it popped out at the last moment. Mason Madsen fouled the 3-point shooter, and John Anderson to the free throw line for a few.
Watch Sharavjamts here create his own shot with this little step back. Wasn't just clean as a houndstooth, but it still counted 3. Maybe a little Michael Jordan push off there as well.
So you mentioned it, Coach. It's a homecoming of sorts to the Beehive State for John Anderson, freshman year down in St. George at Utah Tech. Then evolved into a 20-point-per-game scorer in junior college at Ranger in Texas. And as we mentioned, Grant Leonard, the Queens head coach, really likes his scoring pop off the bench. He expects Anderson to have a chance to lead this team in scoring when it's all said and done.
Well, as you mentioned, he led them in their last game, 24 points. He didn't shoot it that well, only 5 for 14, 4 of 8 from 3, but he got to the free throw line just as he is tonight, 12 times, and made 10 out of 12 free throws to give him those 24 points. We might also mention Chris Ashby made a three a few minutes ago. That gives him 10 straight games where he's made at least 2 3-point shots. His personal record and school record is 19 games where he went and made at least 2 3-point shots a couple years ago.
See Queens changing their defense here down the stretch. Little fine Sharavjamts, shot clock into single digits. Ausar from the corner. Wilson boards.
Pretty good half-court defense then by Queens. They went to a little zone where they were denying ball reversal by the guy on the in front of that zone, Bryce Cash. Made it a little tough for the Utes to get the ball changed from side to side.
About 6 seconds separate the big clock and the small clock here. Madsen fires from the corner. Ausar fighting for positioning, but he touched it last.
Great hustle by Ausar going after that offensive rebound there. I've said he is he's been pretty solid for the Utes at that 4 spot, and they need him awfully bad with their other big guys out. He is no small man at 6'9", 240 pounds. He's already went to the free throw line 20 times. He shot 183 free throws last year at East Carolina, where he was their 3rd leading scorer, 3rd leading rebounder. Just has a propensity of getting to the free throw line, it seems.
Shot clock turned off here for Queens. They can hold for the final attempt of the opening 20. Trailed by as many as 19 here. Ashby with space. Buries the open 3. Final seconds of the half. Little inside a half court, bumped and fouled. And Queens had 1 to give. And that leaves Utah with just 0.7 of a second. All right, what would you draw up here as we get another look at the open 3 for Ashby?
This was deep. That was a bad matchup for Ezra Ausar at 6'9", 240 guarding Ashby there. And as you said, Queens had 1 foul to give there, and they used it wisely. I'm not sure they knew they had 1 foul to give, but it didn't hurt them any.
Oh, they had that use it or lose it timeout today. Grant Leonard doesn't want anything to come of these final 0.7 of a second. All things considered, Queens, as we mentioned, trailed by 19 points with 3:28 left in this half. It kind of looked like things were going to get out of hand, but here they are within 10 on the cusp of halftime.
Well, all of a sudden they start shooting it in from 3, and that'll cure you. You know, that 3-point line can cure you, and it's kind of cured Queens a little bit. They are in their 3rd year of what's called a transitional period of Division I basketball, where you have to apply, you have to be approved, and then you have to go through this transition period. They are eligible for their conference tournament, but not eligible for postseason play until, as you see, 26-27. They are eligible for the Atlantic Sun postseason competition, as I mentioned.
It was only a few years ago the ASUN champ Bellarmine, who played here in Salt Lake City last year, won the conference tournament. They're in the same situation. Jacksonville State wound up representing the conference, and Madsen did not get that off in time. Only have time for a catch and shoot with 0.7 of a second left. And so Queens, 6 straight points to close the first half. The Royals from Charlotte, North Carolina, within 10 here at the break. 41-31.
This second half.
Well, it's Queens basketball to start half number 2. Showed you they shot 33% from the floor in the opening 20 minutes. Did wind up with as many made threes as Utah, thanks to a late flurry in that first half. Ashby made a couple, but misfires here to open the second 20-minute period. And here come the Utes.
You see, what Queens is doing is a handoff followed by a ball screen, so there's potentially 2 switches involved there, and that's not new. A lot of teams run that, but you have to really be on point to guard that. That's how they started that half, guard-to-guard handoff, and then as soon as that second guard receives the handoff, you get hit with a ball screen. So it becomes an easy switch, small to small in the handoff, and then all of a sudden it's a big to small switch. So there is a lot of communication, a lot of defensive rhythm, so to speak, that goes into that.
Utah's toughest test of the early season will be next time on Sunday on a neutral floor in South Haven, Mississippi, against Mississippi State. A turnover, Cash dishes, Ashby raises and buries the corner tray.
I tell you, you have got to find Chris Ashby. Now that was not really transition after a turnover where you couldn't get matched up. Queens got that turnover by great weak side defense on that lob into Ausar.
Madsen across the lane. Ausar juggles it. Now he scores.
So I like that he took his time there after the near turnover and didn't panic, kept it in stance and picked it up with two hands and then just powered it in.
Ashby, or rather Catch, draws the reach-in foul from Miro Little. So Ashby now with a game-high 12 points, and in the blink of an eye, he's knocked down 4 triples.
We talked about this is his 10th straight game going back to last year with at least 2 made threes. He's had one streak 2 years ago, a school record of 19 games where he made at least 2 3-point shots.
Ashby, that's a heat check.
That was deep, brother.
Little lobs it in. And Ausar nearly did the splits as he was reached in on and fouled. So coming out of the half, coach, Utah making a concerted effort to feed Ezra Ausar on the inside.
Well, Ausar did a great job of what a lot of coaches call rim running. Just put his head down and ran right to the front of the rim. Usually you reverse pivot and get your guy on your hip. That time he chose to kind of look for the lob. That was a long way to throw that lob. Utes are lucky that wasn't a turnover.
Sharavjamts pulls the trigger on target.
So much for feeding it inside. Let's just throw it in Mongolian Mike and let him hit one from about a step past the 3-point line.
A game-high 14 for Mike Sharavjamts. He's connected on both of his attempts from the outside as Ashby is reached in on and fouled. That's the second on Miro Little.
You know, I tried to roll my tongue on his pronunciation like you do.
Well, you know, I called a lot of his games at San Francisco last year, so.
Well, my tongue roll just isn't near as good as yours. I about choked to death the first game trying to say his name, so I'm doing the best I can with it. I'll tell you what, though, I do know he's off to a great start for these Running Utes.
Utah by a dozen, led by as many as 19 that first half, but Queens has woken up as Berman turns. It trickles off, rebounded by Ausar.
Ausar all over the glass in this game, which the Utes sorely needed with 3 of their top 4 post players out of the lineup.
Jake Wallin fouled on his way to the bucket. A couple of free throws on the way for the sophomore.
Ausar now with 7 rebounds.
At the line, number 10, Jake Wallin.
Ausar had 3 double-doubles while he was at East Carolina. Had his career high there in their conference tournament last year with 28 points, not rebounds.
Ezra Ausar, a guy that didn't really start prioritizing basketball until his junior year of high school. This was a guy that grew up with a passion for football and baseball, and boy, very quickly has gotten comfortable with this game. And we talked to the Utah staff, they think the sky is the limit. Lead back to 13. Cash puts the dribble behind his back. Goalie Mario slashing to the bucket. Nice defense on the inside from the Utes. Wallin finds Madsen. There's a 3, and it pops out. Ausar tried to jam it back. Winds up with the loose ball, and Mario gave him a bear hug underneath.
That's going to be an intentional foul and 2 free throws. Boy, what a series there by Ausar at both ends. I think he got 3 rebounds in about 15 seconds there.
Well, he's got 10 rebounds on the night and picked up a pair on that last sequence.
There's one, a nice job of giving it up, and then this one rattles just in and out, and here comes Ausar out of nowhere to try to dunk tip it.
The foul on the floor is a common foul on number 23.
That could be an ejection there.
Free throws this go around for Utah. The Utes are 3 for 6 at the free throw stripe as a team tonight.
Ezra Ausar has not gotten to the free throw line tonight. He had 20 free throws coming in here. Such a such a strange line for him. He was averaging coming into this game 11.4 points. He'd only taken 8 field goals attempts, but had 20 free throw attempts where he had made 14. He's a career 60% free throw shooter. Shot 183 free throws last year at East Carolina and 135 as a freshman. Unfortunately, he only shot 60% in his career. He's shooting a little better than that now.
Madsen has the mismatch, blows by Wilson. Ausar again juggling that handoff. Shot clock into single figures. Little finds a seam and wave it off. An offensive foul.
Moving screen there by Ausar. Watch as Little goes around him here. Ausar kind of clearing a pass for him. Not blatantly, but that was again, the official had a better look at it than I did. Craig Smith not real happy about that.
Queens in search of its first points in more than 2 minutes. They trimmed the deficit down to 7, but since then 7 straight for the Utes. Pollard gets it back from Cash, and that's a goaltend. The long arms of Sharavjamts. He thought he had a clean block, but the officials will count the bucket.
Well, that was a nice pass by Cash and a really nice instinctive cut by Pollard there to get to that. A kid who won a state championship at Lone Peak High School right here on this court.
Five points for Pollard in his return to his home state.
I miss it. I haven't mentioned the Ute assistant coach, David Evans, was his high school coach.
Another offensive rebound for Ausar off the Wallin miss. Second bite at the apple this trip down for Utah. Wallin skips it. And it's poked out with 8 to shoot.
Ausar has been, where he's had a decent start to these first 2 games, has been much more active tonight, all over that glass, running the court, pretty good at the defensive end.
Madsen for 3. It's good. His first make from out there, missed his first 5 attempts. And he grows the lead to 15.
We talked about how many games Ashby has with 2 in a row. Gabe Madsen trying to get to his 7th straight game with 2 in a row going back to last year.
Ashby on the miss, and the sneaker came untied for Little, which will take us to our first second half stoppage. All right, Gabe Madsen, we know this guy can heat up in a hurry. His 225th triple as a Ute. It's first tonight, 51-36.
They were getting wide open shots. The last game they had 5 different guys have 2 or more 3-point shots. Everyone focused on the Madsen twins, but they had some other guys shooting it in as well. That's going to be a big part of their game, but it, as we talked about earlier, it's not going to come as easy as it has these first couple games.
What do you mean? They're not going to hit 19 threes every night the rest of the year?
School record, school record. Look at that pass by Sharavjamts. They basically are playing with 2 point guards with Sharavjamts and Little on the court together.
Yeah, Miro Little on the receiving end of what's the 4th assist tonight for Mongolian Mike. He has done it all for Utah. 8 John Anderson, 2 short on a 3.
I'm not too sure Utah wasn't in a 2-3 zone there. Maybe not. Maybe they just switched at the top.
Madsen misfires from up top. Saved in by Wallin.
Great hustle by Wallin. All that did was give his team another possession. He has strung together now his 3rd really good game, and he does it so quietly, it feels like.
Sharavjamts reached in on and fouled with 5 to shoot.
Here he comes down with great court vision. Sharavjamts coming in this game, he was leading the team in assists, only 1 ahead of Little. Little doing a nice job. What happens with a point guard when someone else is handling the ball? They have a tendency to kind of stand around. That time, Little did anything but stand around. Put his head down, ran the floor, and Sharavjamts with that great no-look pass to get himself an assist.
Little hits the step-back 3.
His second made 3-point shot tonight, I believe.
He joins Sharavjamts in double figures, now 10 for Miro Little. Another good showing on this season opening homestand from the Baylor transfer. Anderson had it poked out from behind by Ausar, but a whistle for a reach-in foul.
And that's always going to be a foul. That's an old playground trick where you reach around. He didn't reach from behind, but he reached over. But again, kind of a victim of a switch there where he was a mismatch to a guard. I thought the possession before that, Utah was in a 2-3 zone. I think it was just the way they were aligned. Look at Sharavjamts here.
Sharavjamts racing ahead for the easy two. This is a 17-2 run put together by the Utes. And this is their largest lead tonight, up 22.
And before that last timeout, Utah had out-rebounded Queens in this half 8-0. That's just about as impressive.
Moving screen on Leo Colomario will negate the three. Already the fourth on the Fresno State transfer. Jackson Pollard will come on back in for Queens.
Utah's kind of regained their rhythm, so to speak, both on the defensive end and the offensive end. About the last 4 or 5 minutes of the half, I thought they lost themselves a little bit, maybe just a little lack of concentration. Again, this is a team with 9 new players on the team, and the couple returning either aren't playing or played limited minutes last year. So it's going to take them a while. They're a long way from a finished product, but they have gotten better every half. This is the 3rd game I've had them, and they have gotten better every half of every game I've had.
Lopsided wins the first couple of contests. Craig Smith knew this would be a little bit of a tougher test against this Queens squad tonight. But after the Royals got within 7, Utah has ballooned this thing beyond 20. Had a chance to grow the lead to 24, but Ausar couldn't finish it underneath. Anderson out to Matthews, extra pass. That's Pollard from distance.
A really nice extra pass there. Great ball movement then by Queens College, and kind of settling in a little bit after giving up that 17-1 run. Watch this great ball movement by Queens College, Queens University here, but the Utes still up big here in the Huntsman Center.
Joining the Big 12, it's going to be another loaded year for the conference, and these ex-Pac-12 programs are only going to strengthen what was arguably already the best college basketball conference in the country.
Well, they sent 8 teams to the NCAA out of that league last year to give you some idea of the strength of that league.
Madsen fires. Just hasn't been as on target tonight as those first 2 games.
Well, he hasn't got that. That was a contested 3 there, which you want him to take. Not highly contested, but it wasn't like he was in the gym by himself on a couple of those shots he had earlier in the season.
Malcolm Wilson scores first points of the second half for the 7-footer from Columbia, South Carolina, by way of Georgetown. 5 straight for Queens. 13 minutes left to play on a Tuesday night in Salt Lake City. Little flashes the leather, takes it in, and there's the 3rd block tonight for the national leader in blocked shots as Malcolm Wilson meets Miro Little at the cup.
Talk about the long arm of the law. Malcolm Wilson, when you get around that rim, he is a legit rim protector there. Miro Little tried to go under the rim to use that as a little protection, and Malcolm in the middle, so to speak, was having none of that.
I'm surprised nobody else had given him that nickname. Pollard the steal and elevates for the jam.
Nice anticipation by Pollard, the Utah native with the very famous basketball name here in the state of Utah.
7 straight for Queens to get back within 15. Mason Madsen back in the game. Sharavjamts directing traffic as the shot clock hits single digits. Into Ausar. He twirls around and draws a foul. Ezra Ausar, you talk about putting your hard hat on and bringing your lunch pail. That's been the role he's played for this Utah team tonight.
That's as hard as he's played for this long period of time in the 3 games. Nice anticipation by Pollard here, shooting the gap there and getting all the way to the other end for an easy basket. That last post feed into Ausar by Sharavjamts, he threw that around 3 guys. You had to put that right on a dime to get it to Ausar. He made it look pretty easy.
Caleb Matthews just picked up the technical foul for Queens, and that's the third time tonight that Utah will be awarded technical free throws. These are mistakes you just can't make in a game like this against a team like this.
Not on the road, not at home. That's like you say, they're just giving up points by sending Utah to the free throw line.
Uncharacteristic from a fifth-year guy in Caleb Matthews, who's the last Division II holdover.
Madsen now 9 for 9 for the year. His brother Mason last year only missed one free throw all year at Boston College. 30 of 31. Of course, that's not a ton of free throws, but 30 of 31 ain't bad.
If we put you down on the block and you attempted 31 layups, do you think you'd hit 30 of them?
Well, you forget I'm from Indiana. Of course I would hit him. You know, I mean, you forgot who you're working with there.
I haven't forgotten.
But I get your point. I know 30 of 31, if you're shooting point blank, still pretty good. Now, in my youth, I would have made that. Now, you know, I might have missed one or two.
I think you're like fine wine, coach. Get better as time rolls along.
Fine wine as in Thunderbird or something like that.
The lead back to 18 for Utah after the flurry of free throws as Ashby flutters in two.
Ashby, nice curl off that screen. I'm not too sure Hunter Erickson wasn't. Usually when you get curled off a screen, you're too close to your man away from the ball, but that was a nice read there to curl that screen to a layup.
Team high 14 for Ashby. Ausar feeds Madsen. Couldn't hit on the reverse, and I think Wilson got a piece of it.
Nice pass by Ausar there, and Madsen just couldn't finish it on that reverse.
Cash backing in Erickson against the double team. And Ausar commits the reach-in foul. That is his third, and the fifth on the Utes this half. Utah up 16. When conference play rolls around with the start of the new year.
Well, they have showed flashes, especially here in the second half, of settling down and playing pretty good basketball. And there's been no quit in them. They could have been down 19. They could have kind of just called it in and let it go. But they're hanging in there. There's still a lot of time to play. Utah nursing a 16-point lead.
Mike Sharavjamts has led the way for the Utes tonight. He fires a three. His first miss from back there. And a foul underneath on the 7-footer Malcolm Wilson. Rather, it's on Keanu Dawes.
Yeah, I think that was on Dawes making, you know, I've always said it's hard for me to criticize, or was one of my players, when they get a foul rebounding. That just means they're working awful hard to get there. And I was watching Keanu Dawes, and he was being very physical and trying to get to the glass. Dawes came off a career high, and coming off a career high 11 rebounds on Thursday night against Central Arkansas, which is the second Atlantic Sun team in a row that the Utes have played. Chris, that Atlantic Sun Conference covers 7 Atlantic states. Boy, the travel in that league has to be a little bit fun, but a little bit long, too.
Same can be said for the new look Big 12 when you have teams as far as Central Florida and West Virginia in the conference.
Well, you could say that just about every major conference now. Or proximity has nothing to do with conference realignment.
Throw the geography
days.
out the window.
Yeah, no question.
Jake Wallin misses the front end of the 1-and-1. Utah 7 of 13 as a team from the free throw line. Cash lobs it in. Wilson catches, and it's ripped away by Dawes. And the officials are going to talk about this. I think this is going to stay with the Royals.
Good alert defense by Keanu Dawes on the weak side there. I think he did maybe fumble it off, but that was really alert, being away from the ball, getting there for that lob. Here he is watching the low man on the weak side. Doesn't show him getting there, but yeah, oh yeah, that was the right call. And that was by Chad Shepard, a veteran official, a local veteran official who's a very, very good official in his own right.
Nazman's three-point attempt pops out. Sharavjamts now with 6 boards to go along with 4 assists and 16 points. On the heels of a game against Central Arkansas where he had 13 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds. You almost wonder if he'll get to that triple-double at some point this season after flirting with it last time and having an outside shot at it here with a little more than 10 minutes left to play.
Well, he's shown he's very capable of that. He has done an awful lot of things in a short period of time. Good things for the University of Utah basketball team.
Sharavjamts picked up by the 7-footer. Doesn't mind and drills the triple.
And as you said, the key to that was over a 7-footer with long arms, and boy, he shot that with a ton of confidence.
New career high for Mongolian Mike with 19. Anderson misses off the window. Sharavjamts, outlet pass, little Euro step. Misses the floater, and it's out of bounds off Queens.
Great rebound and outlet pass by Sharavjamts, and a nice job running the court there, but a nice job by Queens getting back in transition defense. Look at this last three-pointer by Sharavjamts at 6'8", contested over a 7-footer, a rainbow three. Wow, he just continues to impress.
Coach, how about not only over a 7-footer, but over the nation's leader in blocked shots?
That was very impressive.
Wallin flashes the leather. Nice ball fake. Tried to sneak it in over Wilson.
I tell you, Wilson, that age-old saying about how many you block and how many you changed, and he changed Wallin's shot a little bit there. Utah playing without their 2 leading scorers, the Madsen twins right now.
The Madsen twins just a combined 3 of 15 from the field tonight, and while those two carried much of the scoring load through the first 2 games, it has to be nice for Craig Smith to see others step up, because you're going to need that throughout the course of a 30-plus game season.
Well, as I mentioned earlier a couple times in the broadcast, that he's doing a good job, and he does a good job of developing his bench. I've had many of their games just now in his 4th year, and I'm telling you, as a coach, you have to work at developing your bench. You just don't roll out of bed one day and have a deep bench and you feel comfortable with it. You have to play guys, that 7th, 8th, 9th guy, you have to play them valuable minutes in valuable games, and Craig Smith has always been pretty good at that. In fact, Craig Smith has always been pretty good at a lot of things. 7 20-win seasons and 14 seasons as a head coach. He's been Coach of the Year in 3 different leagues. National Coach of the Year, NAIA Division II. He's done a fine job getting things back on track here at Utah.
John Anderson in transition. Queens back within 15 with 9 minutes left to play.
Queens definitely not out of, excuse me, Chris, but they just keep kind of hanging in there at that 15-point differential.
Erickson fires. Dawes on the offensive glass. Easy putback.
Great rebound. Went up in a semi-crowd there with 2 hands. All great rebounders rebound with 2 hands. Dawes came from the other side of the basket to get there.
That is cash for Bryce Cash from long range.
This is a team that averaged about 9 made threes last year and played to a fast pace. So they're just now kind of, not just now, but they're getting their feet under them when it comes to shooting it in.
Another Utah turnover. Man dives on the floor, ripped away by Madsen, and a finger roll finish.
Give Dawes an assist on that, giving his body up and getting on that loose ball, and then Madsen picked it up and scored. That won't be an assist, but it was because of Dawes' great hustle. His mother played junior college basketball and volleyball down at the College of Eastern Utah, the old College of Eastern Utah.
Anderson fouled underneath. He will take a free throw on the other side. Utah trying to pull away. 68-52 on top of Queens, closing out this season opening 3-game homestand. Freshman, San Francisco last year, and now very comfortable in Salt Lake City with this Utah program. As Queens misses the front end of the 1-and-1 out of the timeout. Madsen turns and fires and hits. Second tray for Gabe Madsen.
Gabe Madsen now with 7 straight games going back to last year with a multiple made threes. Coming into tonight, he was 5th on the all-time list in made threes.
Anderson misses the layup underneath. Wallin runs the floor. Dawes down the lane, draws a foul.
Good job by Dawes running the court there. Wallin being unselfish there, but maybe not a great place to give Dawes the ball 20 feet from the basket there. I mean, that wasn't an awful pass, but Dawes just put his head down and got it to the rim and got to the free throw line.
The 6'9" sophomore from Houston who played in his backyard at Rice last year.
He started 28 games for Rice last year, Chris. He had eight double-figure games, and he had a really nice freshman year. I think he's a terrific pickup for the Utes.
Craig Smith told us that his vertical improved about 5 inches.
It's amazing,
over
isn't
the
it?
summer.
Yeah, he told me that. They had a great summer with these guys. Unfortunately, not all of them were here. They were missing a couple guys, but Dawes was, and he had a terrific summer.
7 straight for the Utes to stretch this lead back to 3 touchdowns. Ashby, quick release, wide left. Madsen takes it inside, and it rolls off, but he'll get a couple at the free throw line.
Strong move by Madsen. A great rebound by Merrill Little down at the other end, who is a very good rebounding guard. Of course, he's a big guard at 6'4". I've heard him listed at 6'3". He's got size about him. Gabe Madsen has not missed a free throw yet this year. Nor has he still not missed.
Do you get nervous too after you say something like that? Because you know it's completely on you if he misses.
You know what? This is my 19th year now of broadcasting, and I've not lost a game yet, so I don't get real nervous like I did with a coach. I'm undefeated. That's on you. That's not on me.
Okay,
that's on you.
I'll take that one for us, Coach. A rare Madsen miss from the free throw line. Hasn't been an efficient night shooting it for Madsen, but he's still got 15. I mean, 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 9 from distance. A good chunk of that at the free throw line, going 5 of 6. But talk about a guy that's going to be consistent, whether he has the hot hand or not. Well, you just watch this game and you look up at the ticker, and I mean, he's right about where you'd expect him to be.
Well, he's active. Like I say, he's not just a catch and shoot guy. I mean, we just saw him make a great move, a strong move to the basket there. We've seen him with a steal tonight that led to a layup. He's an all-round player, and he's 6'6". I keep thinking he's got to get some looks from the NBA. A guy can shoot it like that with that size and shoot it consistently. There's not many. He's going to end up being the all-time leading three-point shooter. And how about that? An exclamation point by Keanu Dawes.
Dawes with authority stretches this lead to 24. Largest advantage for Utah tonight, inside of 6.5 minutes. Ashby way outside, won't get it.
Dawes with another rebound. He has really been on the glass after coming off his career high 11 rebounds last Thursday.
Dawes from the outside comes up short.
Maybe just a little quick there. He was open, but he was deep. I would have liked to see him reverse that ball and get that ball changed to the other side there. Not to be critical of him, because he's playing a whale of a game right now.
8 points, 5 boards for Dawes off the bench. Late in the clock here for Queens, and Colomario fouled by Little. 4th foul on Miro Little, who's got a career-high 10 points tonight. And well, I don't know if he needed the extra 5 inches that he added to his vertical to throw this one down.
Well, he split a seam in the crowd, and then big Malcolm Wilson came over and really didn't want any part of that. Keanu Dawes, 6'9", about 220. He won't miss many of those.
Tough night for Leo Colimario, still scoreless. Picked up a technical foul earlier, playing with 4 fouls at the moment.
We've talked about guys with Utah ties. He played down at Wasatch Academy before he went to Fresno State. He's no newcomer to the state of Utah.
50-year senior from Brazil, finally in the point column. Snapping a string of 10 straight points for the Utes. Full court pressure shown by Queens, a team that's right back at it tomorrow night at BYU. And Cash reaches in on Erickson.
See, that's a little soft 2-2-1, and a soft press like that, they kind of count on you making mistakes. They're not coming after you with a hard trap there, but you play that not to try to take the ball away from a primary ball handler like Cash just tried there. That was silly, 90 feet from the basket.
Sharavjamts will get some more run here with Utah big and 5:40 left. The career high 19 points, 8 of 10 from the field.
Hunter Erickson now 4-4 from the free throw line for the season.
7 points for Erickson off the bench tonight. Wilson catches and whistled for traveling before the shot attempt.
Utah kind of swarmed him on that little roll there, and a couple of defenders around him kind of contributed to him traveling.
Madsen left alone. Yes, sir.
And gives Sharavjamts another assist, and that was just off a quick ball reversal from Erickson to Sharavjamts to the trailing Madsen there, and it was no, great highlight passes, just good team basketball there.
Goalie Mario out to Cash. Second effort here for Queens. Final 4:50 from the Huntsman Center tonight as Cash strolls baseline. Matthews into contact, and it bounces through.
And that was a nice finish by Matthews.
Erickson was shaken up very early in that possession.
He was shaken up pretty good. He hit the ground and never really got back in the flow of the game. Of course, where he got hit may keep you from getting back into the flow of the game.
Yep. Been there.
That may keep you from getting back in the flow of several things in life. You get hit hard enough.
So we got a timeout here with 4:45 left, and Utah, barring something miraculous, and the officials are going to actually take a second look at that, even though it happened about 30 seconds ago in game time.
The review is to look for a possible flagrant foul.
I'm telling you, that had to be a hard shot, because Hunter Erickson is tough as a pine knot. I'm telling you, he plays hard, and he's really tough physically. So to see him go down like that again, that must have been a pretty good shot.
All right, one more time, show you what happened to the fifth-year senior from Provo. His teammates are giving him a hard time about it.
No call on the play stance.
And Hunter Erickson says it's easy for you to say no play, no call on that play. And Hunter Erickson takes a seat, well deserved.
Well, Coach, Mississippi State is next for this Utah team, and they have also opened 3-0 in the season. They faced a few mid-major programs, and as expected, lopsided victories for that program, but that should be a great early season kind of measuring stick game to see where this Utah team is before coming back for a long homestand.
Well, they got, even though they're up big right now, they got tested a little bit more tonight. They're going to go down there again with 3 of their top 4 post players, maybe still not able to play, but they've kind of.
Gales come to town, and remember last year Utah went to Moraga and knocked off a St. Mary's team that wound up finishing higher than Gonzaga in the West Coast Conference.
And St. Mary's was ranked pretty high at that time. That was a really nice road win for the Utes. I've said this a few times on the air. The Utes were an NCAA team last year until they lost their starting point guard, Rolly Wooster, to an injury, and they were never the same team after that. Coach Smith did a great job kind of righting the ship, but Rolly Rooster was the key to that team.
An emphatic way for Ezra Ausar to reach double figures, now with 10 points and 11 rebounds. A double-double for the East Carolina transfer. As the entry pass the way of Wilson broken up. And then he's bumped and fouled in the short corner.
It's his 4th foul on Ausar. Azar's played really, really hard tonight. He has really competed. His last 2 fouls have kind of been a little bit silly fouls where he's tried to take the ball from someone, but he has played really hard. He has been a force. Without him, Utah would be a true donut team with nothing in the middle. He gives them at 6'9", 240, nice bank shot off the free throw. That's the way you used to shoot him, wasn't it, Chris?
Me? I didn't need to use the glass.
All net for you, huh?
I'm not more than 5'9", man.
Look at Sharavjamts come out of nowhere for that.
All right, it belongs to Queens with an even 4 minutes left to play. Ezra Ausar reaching his 2nd career double-double by getting up the escalator late on a Tuesday night in Salt Lake City.
National championship with the great Arnie Farron in 1944. NCAA runner-up in 1998 under Rick Majerus. They have 29 NCAA tournament bids, Chris.
DJ Shine misses the layup attempt, and Utah could put it in cruise control now as Madsen flicks the wrist, buries his 4th triple tonight.
And just like that, remember how he really struggled that first half, and all of a sudden here he is leading both teams in scoring.
Jordan Neville comes off the bench late and hits the 3 from the outside. Sophomore from Charlotte in his 2nd year with this Queens program.
Jake Wallin in his 3rd career start tonight just continues to set new career highs with 10 rebounds tonight. The 2nd guy, he and Ausar, with double-figure rebounds.
Boy, when you look at the box score at the end of this thing, you're going to think that Gabe Madsen, it was just another night at the office for him. And I guess it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And he'll head out of this game with a team-high 24 points and 5 more triples to keep pace with the nation's best.
Yeah, it's just amazing. He started out, what was he, 0 for 8 in the first half or something of that nature from the 3-point line. And then all of a sudden he heated up in a hurry. No, Gabe Madsen 0 for 4 in the first half. I think at one time he missed his first couple in the 2nd half, and now he's just lighting it up as he always does.
Well, Van Jabril misfires from the corner. Sawyer Mayhew had it for a moment, gets it back and hits the turnaround hook. Mayhew, the freshman from Weston, Massachusetts, had enrolled at UMass, but came over to Queens in the summertime. Utah has also emptied out their bench. Jewel Karam, the freshman, is in, as Little takes it right back. This is Mason Madsen, and you might be seeing double.
Mason Madsen, who is the 2nd leading scorer on this team after 2 games. He was 2nd at Boston College and made 3s last year.
Don't look now, Coach. Utah's up to 14 made triples in this game. Had 19 in each of the first 2. Poked out with 2:08 left to play. More subs coming in for Craig Smith.
Well, typically after almost 3 games, when they hit them in bunches, it seems like. They kind of go, even in those games where they had the school record 19 and 19, they'd miss 2, 3, and then all of a sudden they'd drill like 3 or 4 in a row and just get a tremendous scoring spurt. Last game, as I talked about, they had 5 guys who had multiple 3s.
Brady Smith, the son of Craig Smith, the transfer from Salt Lake City College, seeing his first action. Madsen, pocket pass. Bamishala rejected at the rim.
Nice pass by Madsen there.
Van Jabril with the swat for Queens. And now Jabril has it taken away. Bamishala with some vengeance. Smith pitches it back. Huang fires. Madsen nets Utah's second effort. Smith pulls up. Huang puts it back.
Jerry, nice job being around the basket.
First career points for the freshman from Taiwan.
Who played on their national team this summer.
Mayhew misses from the corner. 65 seconds left to play in Salt Lake City. So Queens as close as 7 after halftime. But it will wind up another lopsided victory for the Utes as Bima Sheila adds a dunk.
That's the exact same cut, exact same pass that Mason Madsen gave him 2 plays before that, coming down the right side.
Shine gets through traffic for 2. And so Utah 17 until one of the nation's best at home in this venue last season. They will open 3-0 with 3 big victories to start this new season. A new season that starts in a new era. The Big 12 is going to be a whole lot of fun. It's going to be very difficult to navigate through. No soft spots on the schedule, but the Utes, even without some guys that they expect to contribute later in the year, they have aced their first 3 tests here, wouldn't you say, Coach?
No, no question, and I've done all 3 of them. They played Monday, Thursday, and then tonight, and they've gotten better every night. They've become more cohesive. They've become more of a team. They've kind of taken on a new identity without playing without Lawson Lovering, the big 7'1" center, or their new transfer, who is also a post player, Zach Keller, the transfer from Wake Forest. So, and I've said this before, those guys not playing may end up being a blessing for these Utes, where other guys have gotten extended time.
Late in the clock, Smith on a bounce to Karam. 6 seconds to shoot for Utah. Another lofty number in the point column tonight, 96, with a chance to add to it.
They were averaging 99.5 coming into this game after scoring 99 and 100.
Smith blocked from behind by Shine. Shot clock has been turned off inside the Huntsman Center as Berman misses. Offensive rebounds, and yes, a couple more free throws before we get out of here.
I don't know, has Berman scored tonight? 0 for 7 from the field, make that 0 for 8.
Well, they expect him to be a big piece here. He started tonight. He's older than your average freshman. He had an Israeli military commitment in his home country. So he's 20 years old, didn't get on campus until August, but was a point shy of a double-double last time against Western Carolina. They really like his potential. They say the same from Maban Jabril, who's from north of the border in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. Grant Leonard, the head coach, went as far as saying this guy has all the tools to play in the NBA. And you can see the physique is there, just needs to put on a little more muscle. Speaking of muscle, Utah brought it again tonight as time expires on a 96-65 victory for the Utah Utes, who sweep this season opening homestand.
3-0 after 3 home games, and now they take the show on the road to play Mississippi State, and that will be a